So you may have heard by now that Meg Thee Stallion and Klay Thompson have broken up, and allegedly it was due to him being a little cheater. Apparently he has Klay has a track record of doing this, and I'm seeing a lot of think pieces people are dropping on the matter, right? I'm seeing it being talked about from multiple angles, but the main thing, right, honestly, really and truly, here's the problem. The more you do for a man, the less he respects you. Because overgiving does not create love in a man. All it's going to do is make him expect more from you. And then that is going to put you in your masculine energy. And then you're going to find yourself in a cycle of continually trying to prove yourself to him, trying to prove that you are worthy of being with him. And then usually what happens is that the man starts to disrespect the woman. He starts being mean. He starts devaluing you. And we as women, we are very nurturing by nature. So we get caught in this cycle way too much. Over giving, over nurturing, over forgiving things that you should not be forgiving. And we think that's us being loving, that's us being loyal. And all it's doing in the man is creating a narrative in his mind of you that you are just a doormat. But that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. We're going to talk about why, when you start doing the most, your value starts to lessen in his eyes. Because there's actually a reason for this. Now, before we dive into the meat of this video, right, I want to do some quick housekeeping because a lot of women who are wounded emotionally get very triggered by videos like this. And I can already feel the eyes rolling in the back of heads, and I can already see the panties rolling up into the biggest of knots. You see so many people, women specifically, right, have conflict in relationships is because simply women do not understand men. We think that men think, feel, behave, and perceive in the way we do. That's mistake number one. Men are simply not built like women, ladies. A man's sense of self is defined by his achievements, him succeeding, setting goals, logic, efficiency, things of that world. A woman's sense of self is defined by our feelings and the quality of our relationships. See think pieces online. I noticed that this is a hot take saying that, oh, how could Klay do such a thing to Megan knowing all of the things that she has gone through, right? And the answer is simple. It's because number one, Klay is a little boy in a grown man's body. Okay, now that's one part of it because a lot of men are walking around here with hella mommy and daddy wounds and not knowing it. Just because he is in a position of power and has a ton of notoriety does not erase the fact that he may be a little boy in an adult man's body. Men have very high levels of testosterone, which naturally reduces the level of empathy and compassion that they can feel versus us women. So you have to remember this, right? This is the same species that goes off to war and drops bombs on villages filled with babies and children. And they feel honored in doing this because in their mind, they're fighting for their country, they're protecting their country. And those same men can come home, kiss their wives and kids, and have dinner and act like nothing happened, right? Because men can compartmentalize like that. Us as women, that's why they don't call us to war and to do the things. We're responsible for the luxuries and to make life feel good, okay? We can't compartmentalize like that. This is why it is so important for a man to awaken his love for you. Otherwise, you will be easily discarded in his world. He will just view you as you existing. And now I know that you're asking, right? Well, how do I awaken his love for me? And the answer is activating your dark feminine traits. You need to have a impeccable self of high self-worth and self-esteem, strong boundaries, and high standards. Men want to be challenged. They want a woman who is going to challenge them. They want a woman who's not going to allow them to walk all over them. This is going to inspire him to evolve in his masculinity because of the amount of influence a woman has on a man's life. This is why I'm always preaching and saying how you see yourself determines how he sees you, period. As the feminine within a relationship dynamic, you hold more of the influence in the relationship. which means you hold more power in the relationship. I want you to think about it like this, right? This is the feminine and this is the masculine. The masculine represents a cast iron skillet. The feminine represents fine china, right? Now, technically speaking, the cast iron skillet is stronger, right? It is more durable, but the fine china is more powerful. There's a difference between being powerful and strong, right? The fine china is more powerful and it has higher value. It is treated and seen with elegance. So you have so much influence, you have so much power over a man's life. Literally, everything that men do is to prove themselves worthy of being with a woman. So you have a lot of responsibility, whether you want to accept this or not. Okay, so now I don't want to hear the predictable objections, okay? Like, oh, so you're saying that I have to teach a man how to be a man. No, that's not what I'm saying. That is not what I'm saying. I am saying that how you show up, okay? The signals that you're sending off from your natural embodiment is what's causing you to attract certain people and certain circumstances. You need to stop over functioning so that you can allow his natural masculine responses to kick in. And then here comes the next one. Oh, you're blaming women. No, I am not blaming women. I am calling women to sit within the high power that they were called to be in. You have to understand, right, that our traumas and our emotional wounds are not our responsibility. But the aftermath of those traumas is our responsibility. We have to clean up the aftermath because the aftermath is what's attracting certain people and circumstances to your life, whether you understand this or not. There is a law for this called the universal law of correspondence, meaning that your reality is a direct reflection of the level of consciousness you're at. And our consciousness level is highly affected by the wounds that we carry. So, Meg, from the interviews and things that I've seen her in, right? I know for a fact that she is dealing with a lot of emotional wounding just because of how she's speaking in the interviews and such. She lost her mom, she was shot, she was publicly humiliated. Now, those things cause emotional wounds. And those emotional wounds oftentimes have us making decisions that goes against our better judgment and our better good. Now, a lot of this advice does not pertain to dating toxic men or abusive men, right? The only antidote to resolving a toxic abusive relationship is to literally leave it. But for most of you, I can speculate that a lot of you are dating fairly decent men, and just a shift in your energy can cause the entire dynamic to change and influence him to step up. This is why you see all the time the same man can show up completely different in two different relationships because how he shows up is dependent on how she is showing up. The masculine is always responding to the feminine. So these types of conversations are for grown women. Okay, this is not for crybaby little girls. Sister, if you cannot handle conversations like this, I need you to go and find something else to watch. Okay, I need you to go find something else to do and then come back when you're ready. I'll be here. Because your wishful thinking, your fantastical thinking is not going to override over 200,000 years of evolutionary programming within men. You are literally and figuratively not above the program. I wish I could walk up into a bank and tell the teller, can you give me $50 million? First off, they're going to look at me like I'm crazy and say, ma'am, I'm going to need you to exit the establishment quick, fast, and in a hurry because the authorities are already on their way. Because that's simply not the natural order of making money. Making money has an algorithm. Provision of value plus demand will give you the outcome that you want, which is money. Men also have an algorithm. Certain inputs is going to get you a certain output. And guess what? Even you as a woman run on an algorithm. Your triggers, your attractions, your boundaries, all of it is based on patterns. So please, like, ask for deliverance from the man eater, men are trash mindset. That content that you're seeing online, you have to understand that there's a whole segment of women who can't even relate to what you're experiencing. This is called the law of polarity, right? Up can't exist without down. left can't exist without right, good can't exist without evil. There's always another side to your current belief system. So the reason you think that all men are trash is because that's the type of content you're attracting. That's the world you're living in right now. But I promise you, there is another world that exists where your experience with men can become much more blissful. And understanding men is going to give you such leverage, is going to give you a leg up, because now you're walking into the situation prepared. You understand what to look for, you understand when to do certain things, how you should move, how you should act. You have a strategy. When you're getting to know a man, oftentimes he is going to test you. It is a part of his nature. So you need to have your dark feminine traits activated to be prepared and strategize against those things when he starts throwing stuff at you. And after a while, when a man sees that this is a woman that I can respect, that I can love, that I can cherish and honor, that's when the love starts coming in for you. And then you can be more, you're in a much more safer position to start showing your lighter feminine traits, your lighter feminine side, and doing nice things for him and stuff like that. But until then, he needs to earn your love. He needs to earn your loyalty. He needs to earn your trust. You need to stop making it easy for men, start understanding men, stop fighting against natural order, and learn to work with it. Now, let's get into the reason why doing the most actually repels a man. So the first reason is men are wired to pursue, not to be served. Men are wired to prove himself worthy enough to be with you, right? He is the one who's supposed to be doing all the things, stands and trying to impress you. So when you are doing the most, how he's reading it, right? Because remember, 90, I think 3 to 96% of communication is nonverbal. And men have really good internal readers. They know how to read a woman's energy very well. So he's not so much listening to the things you say, he's very much watching the things you do. So when you come in and here you are over functioning, mothering, doing all of the things, he is confused, right? His internal reader becomes confused because he understands inherently that a woman is supposed to receive, right? This is why the egg doesn't chase the sperm. There's hundreds and thousands of sperm, okay? And there's one egg. The egg sits and waits for the sperm that is the strongest to penetrate her, right? She's not thinking to herself, well, it's been a good amount of time and nobody ain't penetrating me yet. Let me actually go see what's going on here. No, she sits there, she sits in her power and waits for the sperm who is the strongest to penetrate her. So now, when you are doing the most, he is reading this as you trying to prove your worth to him. And what's happening now in his mind, his subconscious, is that okay, there's something wrong with this one. This one is defective, right? And why does it low key feel like I'm dating a man? Maybe she doesn't value herself. Maybe she doesn't have any other options. Now, you see how the narrative starts forming? You are robbing him of the opportunity to prove himself to you. A man's respect for you is tied directly to what he had to invest to get you. This is his time, especially his time, his resources, his energy. If you give him easy access and you set the bar too low, his subconscious is now reading that you have low standards and you did not make him work to earn you. This is how men are when you're doing too much, because now it's outside of natural order. The roles are reversed. So he's thinking, okay, well, then I must be the hottest thing since sliced bread. Okay, let me see what else I can get out of her. If she's willing to do all of this, let me see how far I can push it. He's not thinking, oh man, this is such a great woman. I just love her so much. He's thinking, okay, how much can I get out of her? Why is she doing all of this? Let me see how far I can go. Men fall in love with women that they choose to give to, not the other way around. Every time you do something that he did not earn, especially if he hadn't earned it, you are communicating that your energy, your time, your resources is cheap. He learns that your effort requires no kind of reciprocity. Okay? And what happens to things that we don't value? Cheap things get disrespected and discarded. Men rise or fall based on the woman beside them. Men inherently want to evolve, and they have an internal understanding that the best way to do this is to be with a woman in her power. This is why dark feminine energy is so intoxicating to him, and he just wants to be in the presence of a woman that's strong and within her dark feminine energy. Because when a woman has strong self-esteem, clear standards, and you're not playing games with him, you do not mind being a headache in his life. You don't mind being inconvenient. This is going to pull the best out of him. This is why how you treat yourself is so important. I'm going to keep screaming this to the rooftops. How you treat yourself is so important because it serves as an instruction manual to him. If you treat yourself like an option, he is going to treat you like an option. I've seen average men become kings because of the type of woman that they were with, right? You hear men say this all the time. Oh, I wouldn't be a quarter of the man that I was today if it wasn't for my wife, right? And a lot of the time, the wife that is not having to be in her masculine energy to inspire him to be a great man. A lot of the time, it's just her. It's her being, not her doing. She is so comfortable within her feminine energy, and she does not budge on her standards and her boundaries to accommodate him. And I've also seen the opposite. I've seen men become so lazy because of the type of woman he was with. She was not requiring much of him. You need to make a man useful in your life. This is how he gets his value. This feeds him. This feeds his masculinity. He needs to feel like he's being useful. This is going to make him feel like a man. This is going to make him want to step up and do more because that's what they're here for. They're here to serve you. They're here to serve their women. A lot of women are not comfortable receiving. That is a huge problem that we have, right? Especially us Black women. We were conditioned to be very masculinized and to do the most, right? You need to learn how to be within your feminine energy. First, learning how to activate your dark feminine energy so you can switch the dynamic. If you want more in your relationship, you're going to have to activate your dark feminine traits. You're going to have to set those boundaries. And at first, it is going to be turbulence, right? He's going to resist, resist, resist. But eventually, he's going to give in once he sees that you are not backing down. And then you will notice the entire dynamic changing. But you need to be comfortable in a little bit of chaos. So I'm not saying that him disrespecting you is your fault, right? It's a terrible thing and he's 100% responsible for what he's doing, right? But you are responsible for protecting your energy, for standing firm, for not budging, for not making it easy for him. So, like, I want you to think about it like this, right? So, if I leave my front door unlocked mistakenly and someone comes in to steal my TV, whose fault is it at the end of the day? We both have some responsibility in it. Of course, the thief is wrong, yes, but at the end of the day, I'm the one without a TV now. Take radical accountability for your situation. Use your influence that you have as a woman. Stop blaming men, stop doing all of that, and get in your power. So now back to Meg and Klay. Um, the cooking videos. The cooking videos is such a prime example of what overfunctioning looks like in a relationship. I noticed an interview that Meg did. It wasn't like I watched a couple interviews with Meg, and someone asked her about Klay, and she said that she loved Klay so much because he was the first guy who has ever been nice to her, right? This is very revealing, and this shows that she did not have a pleasant experience with men, more than likely due to the emotional wounding she has, which is causing her to exhibit and send signals of what she will tolerate from what she wouldn't tolerate, right? Don't be fooled by Meg being a superstar and having all of this notoriety, right? At the end of the day, she is a woman before she is a celebrity. So she is still susceptible to the things that other regular emotional wounded women go through. She is just on a larger scale with it. So that's even better reason for her to do the internal work. So we saw her cooking for Clay's family, right? There was one video where I saw homegirl making this man and his family like an entire Thanksgiving dinner. Now, here's the thing, right? Here's my take on it, and this is going to be a little different from what everyone else is saying. It's not the fact that she's cooking for him is what's the problem. It's the energy behind the cooking is what's the problem, right? You can do the same action with a certain energy behind it, and people will receive it completely differently. Let me give you an example of this. I've cooked for my man's family before, not a whole Thanksgiving dinner, but I'm Caribbean and my man's family is American. So to them, when I cook them dishes and stuff like that, they're getting a taste of a culture they're not familiar with. When I cooked for them, it is a gift because within my energetic body, It's coming from having high self-worth, high standards. And if you don't like the food, then that's your business at the end of the day. That's not going to change how I feel about myself if you don't happen to like the food. Now, the good thing is they love the food, right? But that's besides the point. What I'm trying to display is that due to the type of energy that I'm sitting in, it's what's going to it's is what I'm going to embody, right? Now, when Meg was cooking for Clay's family, in the video, I heard her say that, "Oh, I really hope that his family likes my cooking because I want to really show them that I love their son." What's the problem with that statement? What we say reveals what we are feeling inside a lot of the time. And I can imagine if she said that from when she was cooking, I know that she is showing those same tendencies within other areas of the relationship as well. So her cooking was a form of seeking validation. You see, same action, different energy, certain outcome. We know this very well when it comes to dealing with salespeople, right? This is why salespeople have such a bad rep. But have you ever come across a salesperson who sold you so well that you forgot that they were even selling to you? And it's called sales breath, right? Those salespeople that are very desperate and you can tell that they really want the sale and they're really pushy. And even though you may want the thing, all of a sudden you don't want it anymore because of the type of energy that they're embodying. But now a salesperson comes to you confident and with a tone in their energy that says take it or leave it, that doesn't change anything for me. Now all of a sudden you want the thing, even if it's something that you didn't desire in the first place. That's the power of energy. So I know Meg has emotional wounds. I know she does. And don't let her notoriety and her fame scare you into thinking that all women are doomed. Even beautiful, fine, fit women get done dirty on a daily basis because of the type of energy they're embodying. Men respond to your energy more than they respond to anything else. So don't use what happened to her as an excuse to give up. Meg has work to do. She has in some internal work to do because of all of the stuff that she's gone through that we know of publicly. So imagine some of the other things she's gone through that she's not been open about, right? Could you imagine? So remember, doing the most does not make you valuable in his eyes. The more you do for a man, especially when he hasn't earned it, the less he is going to respect you. The more he is going to think that there is something faulty in your wiring. The more he is going to see you as defective. Remember, this is not because men are evil. This is literally because of how they are wired. Because men are responsive and they're responding to the energy you are embodying. Stop performing, stop trying to prove your worth, and remember to be the fine china. You are elegant, you are to be seen, you are not to be used. You are to be cherished, you are to be loved. He needs to prove himself worthy to you. He needs to be the one putting the work in. If you are in a current relationship where you are over functioning, stop today because a man's respect for you will never exceed the respect you have for yourself. Let him invest. Okay? That's dark feminine energy, ladies. Remember, dark feminine energy is not about manipulation. It is you having an understanding of your worth and an even better understanding of the male psyche and how men operate. Don't be upset. Learn how to work with them. Heal your inner wounds so that you're attracting different things, so that you feel more worthy and increase your confidence. That way, you're not going to be dealing with nonsense and things of the sort. Now, if this video was a little triggering, that's actually a good thing. Okay, that's how I changed. I used to the things I've dealt with, child. When you feel triggered, that's the best because that means that there's something shifting. That means that there's some truth, right? Because you can only be stung by things that you feel has some truth to it. So take what you can from this video and do the internal work. Do not be fooled by what's happening with people in high positions like celebrities because they're in such a limelight. It's tricking your brain into thinking that you're doomed as an average woman, right, who's not in on that level of notoriety. But understand that celebrities are just people too, and they're susceptible to the same wounding that any other person is. And as always, leave your questions, comments, and insights down below, and I will see you in the next video.